Hello friends, it's been a minute. Well, I wanted to come and talk to you guys about that one video that I made about the $20,000 bonus and how things are changing in the Navy Reserves and just a couple of different things. Okay, so if you guys don't know, the Navy Reserves is mandatory now. Yes, I'm guessing the new contracts, like people who are just now coming into the Navy Reserves, they no longer have it where you do 4 years of active duty time and then 4 years of inactive duty time. Inactive is not the CELRES, it's not active reserves, it is inactive. You go and do what you want, and if you get a phone call, you better show up, type of thing, right? For 4 years, you are on this list of we might need them, right? Okay, I want to make it very plain, very clear. So what I'm doing right now is trying to pull up the instructions specifically about I hope I can get into this, specifically about how the Navy has now made it mandatory. How the Navy has made it mandatory for people to join the CELRES, which is active reserves. So you still do your 4 years, and then you do your 2 years of 2 years of CELRES, and then 2 years of inactive. Okay, which is kind of crazy, kind of interesting, because I've had questions about this, like, what does it mean for the CELRES if people are forced to go and join? What does it mean for the whole organization of the CELRES community, right? And so my questions have been answered, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up, and we're going to get into it. Okay, so NAV Admin 303/23, execution of the selected reserve portion of the military service obligation. Okay, so that contract that you sign when you join the Navy, before you go to boot camp, before they say, hey, you know, you're ready to join, congratulations, they take a picture of you in front of whatever. Before they do all that, you sign your contract. This is the execution of the CELRES portion. Okay, so I'm going to go to that NAV Admin, and I'm going to read section 3 where it says policy. And so it says, any sailor who entered into a service contract on or after 1 October 2020, so I guess it started way before now, on or after 1 October 2020, who is separating from active duty with less than 6 years time in service, is subject to required CELRES service as determined by the needs of the Navy. The amount of time required in the CELRES is equal to 6 years minus the amount of active duty service, right? Example, sailors who separate with 4 years and 6 months of active duty service may be required to serve 1 year and 6 months in the CELRES. After completion of 6 years time in service, sailors may then be transitioned to the IRR to serve the remainder of their military service order or their contract, right? Okay, sailors transitioning from active duty to the CELRES are granted a 2-year deferment from involuntary mobilization. We already knew that part, but this is interesting. This is very different. This is very interesting. I think it's kind of cool, but so I went to one of the groups that I'm in, specifically for the Navy Reserves, and I asked a question. Okay, this was what I wrote. I said, so I heard that the CELRES was mandatory now. Can someone share some more light on this? Did the bonus go away also? What does that mean for the reserve community as a whole? Will being ADSEP turn into being AWOL? Will people start going to the brig? I mean, I may be dramatic here, but this is valid, okay? Because if it's mandatory for people who finish basically their 4 years or whatever, because some people get out a little bit before 4 years. But what does mandatory mean? I think that's the real question here. What exactly does mandatory? Because right now, the Navy Reserves is not mandatory. Mandatory means if you don't go, you're gonna be put in jail, right? You're gonna be put in jail. Mandatory means absent without leave. How do you make the CELRES mandatory? Now that's what the NAV Admin says. NAV Admin 303/23. It very clearly states in section 3. Let me just read it. Let me just read it again. Let me find where I'm at. Determined by the needs of the Navy, the amount of duty service may be required to serve. Transition. Okay, maybe did I not read mandatory? But it does say required to serve. Or maybe I should just read it all over again. Or maybe you can just go read it yourself. But I feel like I read mandatory somewhere. Let's see, because required to serve 1 year after the completion of 6 years transition to serve the mandatory deferment from the military. Okay, maybe that was just something that I said. But required. How do you require somebody to be in the reserves, in the Navy Reserves? Requirement to me is equivalent to mandatory, but I could very well be wrong. Anyway, my point here is, what does that really look like for the reserve community? Because as I've said in my video multiple times, if you don't like it, just leave. If you don't like it, just don't show up. If you never plan on joining the Navy again, or you don't want to go through some extensive process trying to get back in, then just leave. Yeah, you're going to get ADSAT, but that's not going to go in your permanent record. Like, this isn't the Fairly Odd Parents, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever show it is. This ain't that. And so, I just thought that was very interesting. So in regards to the bonus, what exactly does that look like? What does the bonus look like for the people? It's still intact, it's still in place. But if you signed your contract, hold on, let me read it one more time. Let me read it one more time. Any sailor who entered into service contract on or after 1 October 2020. So this is not for the people who've already been in, who've done their 4 years, who've done their 6 years, or however much time, less than 8 years. This is not for them. This is specifically for the people who signed on the dotted line saying, I want to join the Navy on October 1st, 2020 or after, okay? Who is separating from active duty with less than 6 years time in service, is subject to required CELRES services as determined by the needs of Navy. And I think that's where I was getting a little bit lost in translation with the word mandatory. Is subject to required CELRES service. Baby, it's mandatory. Like, it's in the contract. You're going to do this time in the active duty. Then you're going to do this time in the CELRES. And then you're going to do the rest of it in the IR. You're going to get busy with that 8 years. A little bit more busier than expected. And honestly, I think it should have been done, right? Maybe not mandatory, but it should have been a really big push, because there's a lot of benefits to being in the Navy Reserves. Now, real quick, why is all of this stuff happening? Why does it seem like there's so many changes in the requirements to join, the age extension, the not needing a GED or high school diploma to join anymore? Like, why are all of these things changing? It's because the military is undermanned in many different ways. Like, patriotism is down, if I'm going to be honest. And if it's not just the patriotism part, it's because people's eyes are open to what's going on in the world, and a lot of people ain't trying to touch it, right? I'm not discouraging or even encouraging. I'm just informing on some things to be aware of. I still think the Navy is a really great organization. You're gonna be doing something. You're gonna be doing something for however long, 10 years, till the day you die. You gotta provide for yourself, okay? But yeah, this NAV Admin is not really that long. Let's see what else we got. What else we got in here? So that was section 3, part 1, but let's look at A. CellRes quota request will be automatically generated in the Career Waypoints Seaway system for adjudication for reserve community managers based upon the needs of the Navy. So this really gets all into the career counselor deeper stuff, right? Like the people who actually push buttons to help you with your career and what you're going to do next or whatever. So if you want to go read this, it's public information. Just go Google it, right? But there are going to be a lot more changes for the better, and honestly I think for the worse. Like there's this one thing going around, and I might talk about it on another video or at another time, maybe even in the community comments section or community post. But there is another issue going around talking about how if you get pregnant while on active duty on a ship before a certain amount of time, then they're going to require you to start your sea time over again, which is so stupid. Like, why would you even are you trying to push people out, or are you trying to get people to stay in? And there's more to this, but I personally, women, they get pregnant at whatever time they feel like getting pregnant, okay, and they do their time as far as spending time with a child, getting their bodies back together, all the things, and then they go right back to complete their sea tour. Why do we have to change that exactly? Why do you want to take away from them? And then I think at least give people an option. I think that would be the smartest thing. But again, this is not something that I want to talk about in this video, but it's definitely something that I think is very important to make you guys aware of. Well, anyway, I know it's been a long time since I've been on here, but I'm here. I'm currently on, what is this, Resched. I'm not able to make, oh my goodness, I'm not able to make February's drill weekend, so I went ahead and rescheduled it to be during the week, which is something you guys can do, which is great. Some chain of commands, they don't really go for it, and you need an extreme reason. My command, thankfully, is super chill about it, because I do all sorts of things. I don't have just a regular 9-to-5 job. No, I'm a student, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, I'm a mom, like a pillar of the community. Like I do stuff, and I'm just not able to do it on the weekends sometimes. So anyway, no guarantees of when I'm gonna make another video, just being very honest and transparent with you guys. So I hope this was helpful, but if you have any questions, majority of the time have been responding to the questions and all that stuff. So if you have any questions, make sure you put them down in the comments below. You can also send me an email. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have not already subscribed to this channel and you like videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot of pretty good videos on my channel, and I think something that I need to do is just go back and remake the videos, because there has been a lot of updates that I think people should be aware of. Again, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and then make sure you subscribe as well. And I'll see you guys down in the comments. Bye, y'all.